Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Indianapolis for the second round of the League Zero Super Formula Championship here this season, the final season of 2025. We're here for the Grand Prix of Indy, here round 2 of the championship on the back of season opener at Interlagos, where we had a couple of brilliant races. Elliott Court and Jaden Callaway took victories respectively, with the reigning champion Adam Merchant sadly not returning for round number 1. At the moment I can't see him in this session either, which is a shame, although we do have some big names returning once again, which we'll go through in a moment. Myself, Ewan, and Biggles will be alongside me for this second round. It was a good opener actually, Biggles, last week at Interlagos. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but now we move on to Indianapolis. 10 laps for the first race, 32 for the feature race coming up a little bit later on, and nearly, maybe we are dipping towards 30 cars now in this session, in the qualifying session. That's a fantastic entry for round 2.
Absolutely fantastic. Of course, I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, we have Noddy back as well too. So we've gone from Brazil and we've worked our way up here to North America here at the Indianapolis, the Yard of Bricks, of course, but we'll be doing on the road course there. And let's see there, Ewan, currently at the moment too, how our standings are from the first round.
Elliott Court leading the way with, as I mentioned, that one of those victories. Finished in the top 5 both times in last week's racing, so he's 10 points ahead of Jaden Callaway, who also finished in the top 5 both times, as did Fabian Sanchez actually, but Sanchez is behind Gonzalo Perez, who is in 3rd place. What a great run he had through the field, by the way, if you remember from race number 2. He started from the very back and came right the way through, and he'll be 3rd in the standings after that effort. Max Shabley rounds out the top 5 with Robert Noble's next, then Jace Meyer and Shaz Zuhair, who are tied then on points and 7th. Finley Fitzsimmons and Elliott Rolls round out the top 10. A bit further down than that, Guillermo Paré only got 1 top 10 out of the 2. He's 11th. Nicholas Isidro only 2 top 10s for him. Tied on points with Gareth McAllister, who didn't have any. Neither did John Stumbra, James Turnbull, Carlos Berlinas, Antonio Bianchi, who had a pretty miserable day, Ricardo Espino and Toro Mayorga. Actually, the guys from 17th on back didn't score any points for positions, just for competing. Austin Thomas got a few penalty points, and so that's why he's on negative points so far. Inca Salsa Racing lead the way with 9 points over the rest of the field. That's Jaden Callaway and Antonio Bianchi who are leading the way, but no real teams, to be honest, scored significant points with 2 drivers, to be honest. That's basically the whole of Jaden Callaway's points that are accounting towards that at the moment. That's where they're leading the team standings. It's very, very early on as far as the team standings go, but a couple of things that stick out. Of course, Elliott Court's performance to lead the points after that first round of the championship. Jaden Callaway's sprint race victory was very impressive as well, but the driver of the day for me was Gonzalo Perez, who's currently qualified this session in 5th place at the moment. He crashed in race number 1, unfortunately, but came right through the field from the very back, nearly to the very front, eventually ending up well inside the top 5. That was a brilliant drive from him, or I think he'll call his own home race, considering that will be the closest he goes to home this season, being Argentinian. We were over in Interlagos last week. That was a brilliant drive, and I'm very excited to see what he can do for the rest of this season now.
Yeah, and was a crowd favourite as well too. And please shout out there. I mean, as much as the Spanish that I can try to understand, and you as well. But we'll see if Perez can get himself a victory for the first time this season as well. But it's going to be dethroning Elliott Court, who looks strong again here in the Americas.
He does, yeah. He does rather. He's currently on pole. Another name that you spotted immediately who's back again is this man, Noddy Amel, who's in 2nd place at the moment. Sadly didn't appear for the final round of last season, or indeed the first round of this, but he is here again. 2/3 of a 10th off of pole at the moment. He pulls back to pit lane, and that looks like it's going to be the end of his session as we rejoin Perez here. That's Fitzsimmons, who has just gotten into the top 5 actually. Maybe it's it was Noddy Amel actually who moved up to 2nd. That's why Perez has just been knocked out of the top 5. Of course, that's where he'll be hoping to be, in the top 5. Ready for the reverse grid, which is what race 2 will be. All that to look forward to here tonight though at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Let's get the starting grid up and get this race underway here tonight, with Elliott Court leading the way, Noddy Amel alongside, and JT Smitten also within a 10th of pole. Finley Fitzsimmons is 4th ahead of Jaden Callaway and Gonzalo Perez, who will share row 3. Antonio Bianchi will hope for a better evening tonight and starts from 7th. with Fabian Sanchez alongside. Elliot Rolls and Juan Jose Martinelli round out the top 10. Sergio Zuhair and Jace Meyer then are on row 6. Row 7 is Gareth McAllister and Ignacio Godkovitz, with Robert Nobles and Xavier Senev on row 8. James Turnbull and Brian Thibault, who is sponsoring next week's race, by the way. They're sharing row 9, with Felipe Ramos and Carlos Palinas rounding up the top 20. John Stumber and Arturo Mayorga, an All-American, row 11. And Ricardo Espino, Max Shabley, and then possible non-starters, hopefully they do, Jack Mundy, Austin Thomas and Christian Ruckriegel, who is at the back of the field. Those last 3 didn't set times, but we saw Shabley practicing. Last 4, didn't set times. We saw Shabley practicing and actually top the practice session. So if indeed he can replicate the practice pace in the race, then he's going to have a lot of overtaking. So they're going to be very disappointed he didn't get a lap in those 15 minutes.
Let's see how it's going to pan out, of course, for our first heat this evening. Elliot Court, Noddy back alongside him on the front row. JT, Smeaton, and Fitzsimmons, and then Callaway. So the Callaway and Smeaton, of course, are going to have the home, and Sanchez as well too. A few American drivers will have the home court advantage, per se, here in the Indy.
So I thought you were going to use a play on words with Elliot Court's name. Home court advantage for Elliot Court.
Oh, well, okay.
No?
Hey, we haven't even started a lap yet. Let's save the puns a little bit deeper in this one as we go.
Yeah.
Hola, vamos Perez, of course, there it is. So there's Perez and Dale Shelby.
Yeah, I don't know what that second one means, but anyway. Anyway,
Green
the lights
flag,
come on
green
here
flag.
for the first race of the evening in the League Zero Super Formula Championship, and we are underway for the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. 3 wide already across the start finish line, by the way, as some slow starters in the background. It looks like we've got 26 of them, thankfully, to the start. Brooke Regal didn't start, unfortunately. Elliot Court into turn 1, leads the field with NML and JT Smeaton side by side for second, and JT Smeaton goes ahead. There's trouble in the background. Mayorga and McAllister have been involved. Robert Nobles was involved as well. Turnbull and Ramos also stopped, although I think they're avoiding incidents. It's Nobles who stopped most notably, and he's only just getting going now. Unfortunate stop for some of them, as Fitzsimmons, I think that is, has a look down the inside. Oh, where has he got to? Philly Fitz. Oh, he's also dropped down the field, sorry. So also involved there. At least 5 drivers delayed in that opening corner.
It's a big one, absolutely. A lot of cars involved, but the beauty of it, these drivers will have that reverse race a little bit later on if they get themselves those positions. As you can see, a bunch of those drivers, Fitzsimmons, Turnbull, Reynolds, McAllister, Nobles, all involved in first couple of corner incidents.
Through into the final sector, and it's side by side for Zuhair and Martinelli. Meyer actually, Jason Meyer, who's alongside in 11th place at the moment, and onto the front straight. No push to pass being used by Meyer here, and you get the feeling that Zuhair might be using a little bit. No, maybe not. On the way towards turn number 1, he'll be on the outside here, Jason Meyer, and he'll get the inside for 2 if he stays there, but he doesn't, so he tucks back into line again. There are no gaps, by the way, more than a second in the top 13 at the moment, and some of the biggest movers forward are towards the back end of that, notably Max Shabley, who's already up to 13th after starting dead last, or at least among those who didn't qualify. What a brilliant start that is for the man who topped in qualifying, as JT Smeaton goes through on Elliot Court now. Change for the lead,
Yes.
First one here on lap 2.
Yeah, didn't you hear the Americans cheering for that at the moment as he gets himself in front of the British driver? Absolutely brilliant. We'll get back in a minute and have a look at what happened with the carnage on our first lap. But we'll just see at the moment that push to pass being used by both of these drivers. Court's trying to fight back. JT's using it as a defensive. Noddy's in that P3 position, and then Callaway. 2 dangerous drivers as well too. Some powerhouse of talent here at the League Zero Formula Series.
Now, does Court respond with a bit of push to pass here? No, he doesn't. You can see that Smeaton is recharging and cooling down, I should say, with that extra bit of power that you can't use all the way around, although you do get 3 minutes 20 seconds of it in just a 10-lap race. And by the way, 10 laps around here is going to be covered unbelievably quickly in less than 12 minutes. This is going to be possibly the shortest race we're going to have this season. Wow. Because this circuit is so fast and so short. Let's have a look in the meantime, because the race will be over soon, about what happened on the start. James Turnbull rather puzzlingly using push to pass in the middle of the melee, and it just shows you, doesn't it? It wasn't Turnbull, sorry, using the push to pass, but it just shows you the slightest bit of contact can really play a role here. And Turnbull didn't even hit anybody, but just got caught up there.
Just nowhere to go as well too for all the drivers, as you can see. Feels like it's in slow motion, isn't it, down into turn 1 as everybody's trying to brake. And, of course, there's a full wide action. It's stuck in the middle there for Robert Nobles, and that's it. That's just a few of the rest of the drivers had to take avoiding action to try to get around.
Feels like that was just too many into one, and it was never going to go. So a bit of a shame, but that's the way that it goes, unfortunately, down towards turn 1, and we'll see that again in race 2 probably. Robert Noble's the only one who's still in pit lane as a result of that, by the way. We have seen Ignacio Gorkovits also in pit lane, but he's back out again on the circuit and just running for the point to say that he's completed the race, because in this series you do get not very many points available actually, but you do get point for finishing the race, if indeed you do. On the way now down in towards turn 7, it's Smeaton who still leads ahead of Elliott Court. Then you've got Noddy ML, Jaden Callaway, Gonzalo Pierre Perez, who are rounding out the top 5. It's a very, very close race as we fast approach half distance.
Adam Merchant out there saying, let's go JT. Of course, there's JT. Under the chase there by Elliott Court. Noddy, it's also going to be... We've seen this before too, haven't we, Ewan, when these drivers just don't use so much of that push to pass. They kind of like forget to use it sometimes in the first sprint race here of 10 laps.
Yeah, they do somewhat. I mean, you're going to have to manage it, especially with the cooling off period. I think I saw Court using it a bit last lap, so he won't be able to do it this time round. But if you get on a cycle of the opposite lap to the guy in front of you, oh no, he does have some available, excuse me, and he sets the fastest lap to go with it, although briefly, he switches to the inside and outside. Smeaton wouldn't have been expecting that, but it was a really tight line for Elliott Court. He was never going to dive down the inside there. It was far too tight of a line. It's only actually allowed Noddy ML to catch up. 3 wide meantime for 8th. Oh, goodness me. Sanchez turned out of it. And Marinelli, and Zuhair continue to fight. It's Marinelli who will take the place. Goodness me.
Yeah, and further back as well too, you got Sanchez, you got Jason, and then Maxi, Super Max up 12 places in P12, following all this shenanigans up the road there. He can certainly get a couple of drivers. We're going to have to switch back up to the leader here, but because Noddy has got past Court, not just yet actually, side by side, putting pressure on. Court had to go very defensive. There's Callaway in the background there. Don't forget her too, one of the crowd favourites, the Argentine there of Perez. He's lurking in the background, you could see there in the blue machine.
Just wonder if there was a bit of contact there between Court and ML as they fought away, but it might just allow JT Smeaton to get away with the race victory here, and could have 3 different winners in 3 different races to start the season, despite the fact that last week's 2 race winners are both in the top 5 here and very much involved in this group. Here comes Noddy ML. He's on the push to pass. You can see Callaway is in the background as well. He's not going to make it 3 wide. He takes the button off early and he sits back and watches as Noddy ML goes down the inside of Elliott Court in towards turn number 1. He's on the outside for the second part and he won't go anywhere there. Here comes Jaden Callaway outside through 3 and 4, and this is going to be very tricky. Oh, what a run that is. He'll get the inside for the first part of the chicane. He's a bit in the gravel out there. Oh, and it's side by side. Caught between the 2. Oh, my word. Noddy ML goes vaulting over the top of the car, and it's a big accident for 2 of the big favourites at the start of this day. Jaden Callaway actually goes out of bounds, and he has an automatic tow. Noddy ML also has a meatball flag. His miserable luck in recent weeks continues. They both go back to pit lane in a huge accident through the chicane. Yeah,
here it is at the moment. Having a look at the replay. Goes out wide, comes back in, and then there's contact between them into the chicane. That's what it was. Bang. Noddy hit the chicane, goes straight back into the side there of Callaway. I think also it looked like Perez might have got a little bit of damage, but somehow that managed to kind of fix itself up. But wow, that was... That's one certainly to evaluate, my friend. That's not at the moment. It's got a bit of damage, as you can see.
He's not getting that back, and you can see why there was a meatball flag. Sorry, Callaway didn't go out of bounds, actually. He just towed very, very quickly. You can just see that they're just trying to give each other room, aren't they, through the chicane? And, you know, this is why I'm not a particular fan of this layout of Indianapolis, to be honest with you, because it makes racing through that chicane almost impossible. Those 2 did their absolute utmost, in my opinion, to give each other room and be respectful of one another there, and it still wasn't quite enough through there.
Well, there's some battle going on between these 2 drivers as well too. So Super Max, we're calling him at the moment, with Jace Meyer. They're going for it 2 for now. Maxi's the biggest, well, not the biggest gainer, because Austin Thomas, that's just down the road from him, is up 15 places on P11, but these 2 should probably get a little bit of a call up there to say, be careful on those chicanes, you lose traction, and these these Formula lights go flying, my friend, over there, over the chicanes. But JT in the lead with a bit of a gap now over Elliott Court by about 1.5 seconds almost.
yeah, he's got a bit of an advantage, which is a big help now. But Elliott Court is closing again. 3 laps to go. And so, what's that? Just over 3 minutes. I mean, if someone's not used any push to pass yet, then get on the button now and don't take it off until the finish, because that's how short this race is. There's the button for Fitzsimmons as he comes down the inside of Austin Thomas. Fitzsimmons got caught up on lap 1, don't forget, and dropped to 22nd, I think, at his worst. He's knocking on the door now of a top 10 and looking to just rescue his evening, really. On points last week, he only finished in 9th place and only scored 1 top 10 out of 2 races. So he'll be looking to get in the top 10 both times this time round, but he's got a long way to go before he can even manage that here in this first race of the night.
I think Elliott Court's using a little bit of that push to pass as well too, to try to get back on JT, because he's taking about a couple of tenths out of him. He took the fastest lap, is 109.22, 109.44 was the last lap for JT. So if he's got to get the move on, he's got to get it done now, because he's running out of lap times left with 2 remaining.
Well, out onto the front straight again. Elliott Court sets another fastest lap. Now he's on the button. Now let's see, does he take it off from this point, because there's only 2 minutes left and he might well decide that now is the moment to keep it on. Let's see, 90 seconds to go. So just wait for it to drop out to about, what's the lap round here, 69, 70 seconds or so is a lap round here. So just watch for when this runs out. They'll get this straight on the next lap towards the end of turn 7, but that will be it. They will both run out at pretty much the same time. They're not going to take it off from this point, because otherwise the cool down period would last for the rest of the race. Yeah,
JT's decided to use it too in defensive, as we're going to see a nice little battle here between Sanchez and Sajay. The American driver trying to make a position up at the moment. Sajay's trying to defend like crazy here in Indianapolis on the road course.
He does well there. Sanchez has timed this a bit better with the button, and he's gone a bit wide there, so that's not going to help. Oh, Thibaut and Stumbra make contact. It's Ryan Thibaut down the inside to 14th. Bit unnecessary contact, but can't be helped at this kind of speed as they come towards turn 7 as the white flag waves out front. Just 1 minute of racing to go. I told you this race is going to be quick. Fastest lap of the race from JT Smeaton, and Court is setting a personal best as well. You can tell everybody he's using the push to pass now. They are both absolutely on the limit. Smeaton with 1 more mistake-free lap though, and he will be a race winner.
I think so. He's responded, of course, to the charging Elliott Court. They just cut completely across the chicane there at the moment. We know what happens if you cut a little bit too much over it. You go absolutely flying. Don't think at this point there's going to be enough time for Elliott Court to catch JT. It's just up to JT if he wants to just bring it home here. If he makes a mistake, of course, that's very much possible, but doesn't look like the hometown hero, as he's out a complete push to pass. You can see the red on top of it, but you don't need it, my friend, because you've only got basically about 3 or 4 more corners to go. And you won the heat race. Yeah,
absolutely, and become our 3rd different race winner this season in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. It's only round 2, but this is shaping up to be a brilliant start to the League Zero Super Formula Series season. JT Smeaton crosses the line at Indy and wins race 1. Holds off Elliott Court with relative ease in the end, actually. And in the background, Rolls will come over the line. He will take pole for race number 2 and smash himself into the wall over the line as well. What about McAllister as he tries to recover some places? And Ryan Thibaut at the very last. He looks to the outside into the final proper corner before... Oh, there's going to be contact, is there? Not quite. McAllister couldn't really go left or right there. Thibaut put his car in the right position, and he holds on for 14th in the end. Fast and furious racing here at Indianapolis in race 1.
Absolutely. And a big accident, of course, between 2 of the top guns taking each other out. But the beauty of it, and that's the good thing about having a heat and then a feature race, is that you got another opportunity. You don't just have to park it and sit like, Oscar did, after lap 1 of the previous race, and sit back there and put your feet up there and watch it. No, you get a chance to get back out there and do it again. Look at that kid they kicked up too around on that turn. But that's it for our first heat race.
It's all over very quickly, isn't it? As we'll bring up the results for you in a second and show you who was where in race number 1. It's of course JT Smeaton who holds on for the win by 8 tenths of a second, with Elliott Court in 2nd. Gonzalo Perez gets the podium as for the first time actually in a race 1. Of course, it was a race 1 where he had trouble last week. Antonio Bianchi gets the top 5 for the first time this season. In fact, a top 10 for the first time this season for league organiser. It is Elliot Rolls, though, who will take pole for race number 2 with a 5th place finish in that one there. Juan Jose Marinelli will be 6th place after holding off the likes of Sergio Zuhair and Fabian Sanchez as well. Max Shapley got up to 9th in a great drive after not qualifying. And Finley Fitzsimmons gets a top 10 here tonight, looking to take double top 10s in an evening for the first time this season. Jason Meyer just got overtaken by Fitzsimmons towards the end there. Austin Thomas made up a lot of places, but not quite as many as Shapley in the end, but still finishing 12th place. Xavier Seneve, Ryan Thibault and Gareth McAllister round out the top 15, with John Stumbra actually watching that battle from 16th place. James Turnbull was 17th, but of Jack Mundy, Filippo Ramos and Arturo Mayorga, who rounded out the top 20. And a bit further down in the field, it was Ignacio Bukovic's 1 lap down after that short pit stop. Noddy Amel finished 4 down with Jaden Callaway and Ricardo Espino, who had a separate crash, it seems, to those other 2. Carlos Balinos retired halfway through that race. Robert Nobles really never got back out again after his turn 1 incident, and Christian Ringo has not decided to take part in this race, unfortunately, despite practicing a little bit earlier on in tonight's server. It is very late where he is. It looks like he's got the Dutch flag next to his name, which suggests it's 3:15 in the morning, to be fair to him. But it was a good first race, I've got to say. Thoroughly enjoyed the first race. I do worry sometimes at Indianapolis compared to some of these other circuits, which you just see on this calendar here, especially the ones we've got around this circuit. Interlagos, Red Bull Ring, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez as well, the Mexican Grand Prix circuit as well. You'd say that out of those first 4, this circuit might be by far the most difficult to overtake on, but actually that wasn't really the case in race number 1. There was plenty going on there.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to see how it's going to pan out for our feature race. And you'll be looking at those pit stops on top of that as well. Of course, to the 2x2 you can go in Red Bull and into the Sound of Music up there in the Austrian mountains. That'll be our next race we'll be looking forward to. But I'd have to say, and I'm sure this driver as well too, that we're currently following here, Mr. Carlos, is going to be loving his home race at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and that's the first time I'll be going there. I think it's probably the first time you'll be heading there as well too, Ewan, unless you have done a league race there.
I haven't done one yet. No.
Not yet. Well,
no.
October 9th, guaranteed.
Yes. I don't know if I've got one between now and then, because I can't remember all the schedules off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that it will be the first, I would imagine. So, looking forward to it. I've only ever seen the Formula 1 races around there, actually. I never actually watched the NASCAR races. I don't know if you did, but very interested to see how that track races in other cars, although I guess the Super Formulas are quite comparable to they're sort of slowish speed F1 cars, aren't they, really? So I guess it won't be too different to the Mexican Grand Prix we see around there. Yeah,
exactly. But the high altitudes, remember, as well, too. So, I don't know how it's going to affect the iRacing simulated cars. But that'll be certainly interesting. Yeah, certainly looking for that one. Of course, and the other classic tracks that we're going to have for the rest of the schedule.
Does iRacing simulate altitude, by the way?
That's a good question. Maybe somebody in the chat might be able to let us know. I mean, they do take it pretty serious in iRacing, but whether or not that is something that they have managed to code in, obviously, in the amount of oxygen you can compress in these engines, is something to know. Only a handful of drivers would like to take this 5-minute warm-up to get a couple of practice laps under your belt as it's about to wrap up in about 30 seconds.
Well, it's just coming towards the end of the warm-up session at the moment. Only a couple of drivers actually out there. If you've had, I can absolutely understand it for Carlos Balinas, especially who we're riding on board with at the moment, the Mexican. He'll have his home race in just 2 weeks' time. I mean, it wasn't a good race one for him. He retired halfway through it. We didn't see the reason why, but that's effectively given him just a little bit of practice there in the 5 minutes just to get him warmed back up again.
Too, which is
a good idea.
Yeah, I know. You've only got 2 to 3 seconds anyway, and well, that could be a make or break situation in races. We've seen that before.
Absolutely a good idea. I mean, talk about it all the time that it's a very under-practiced thing, and this is not an easy pit road, by the way, to get onto. It's not a simple just turn off and brake. It's a proper corner on the way in here, although it looks very similar to the one on the racetrack. It is a bit different, and you're braking around a corner as well to get into pit lane. So yeah, very good idea indeed. But the session comes to a close, and here is the starting grid for race number 2. I'll just go through the top 5 who have been reversed, And that leaves Elliot Rolls and Antonio Bianchi on the front row. Gonzalo Perez, where he finished the first race. Elliot Court and JT Smitten on the back end of that reverse grid, as you can see there. 10:30 in the morning, only 28 degrees Celsius on the racetrack. That'll be somewhere in the 70s Fahrenheit, by the way. Not too warm indeed, and that'll be a relief to these drivers, although everybody will still nevertheless require a pit stop.
That's what we can't wait. That's where you're going to be once again. Practice your pit stops, practice your pit stops, practice your pit stops. I'm going to say it just enough so that it's muscle memory for drivers to do it, because you get speeding in the pit lane, my friend. That's a penalty, and that's going to cost you a ton of time. There it is, the Yard of Bricks. But they'll be behind it a little bit with Elliot Rolls on pole. Next to him, the boss man, Antonio Bianchi, who's, well, this is probably the closest race he's going to have, isn't it, for the Canadian?
Yeah, certainly one of them. Up relatively north side of the USA, as the lights come on here from Indianapolis, and we are ready to go again here from the Grand Prix of Indy. Oh, and that's a slow start in the background from Marinelli, who gets in the way from row 3, and he's very nearly hit there. There might have been a bit someone making contact with the wall, just trying to skip around him. Notty Emel's gone backwards. He's back in the pack. Oh, and he's going to be involved in trouble. There's trouble on the way down towards turn 1. Notty Emel sidesteps it, but offered to the side of the road. Felipe Ramos slows to avoid it. Balinas is involved, and it's Jaden Callaway again. Turnbull's got a meatball. Marinelli's got a meatball as well. There's still gravel on the racetrack from the previous sessions that the marshals couldn't be bothered to sweep up by the looks of things, and we've got meatballs down the back of the field. Unfortunately, Jaden Callaway's evening has turned into a pretty poor one.
And Perez is up here at the moment. He's in that P3 position. But how about JT and Elliot Court? Up 3, straight up to the top of the timesheets already on this one. So we're going to see another situation that we saw in our first heat races. A few more drivers. It looks like Gareth McAllister's gone off. They're in the pit road here at the moment. Himself, Jack Monday there, and Jaden Callaway, unfortunately, was involved in another incident.
That's a real shame for Jaden Callaway. It's let's hope not too long of a meatball, but I think he might have even been the one who goes straight up in the air here.
Bang.
Oh dear. So it's Marinelli who goes up in the air. He shouldn't have been involved in that in the first place, because he got such a poor start. He was suddenly involved in the madness. And which one's Callaway in this? See what he saw. I mean, he's on such... Oh, wow, he's the one who instigates it.
He's the one that's...
Goodness me.
Absolutely.
That's very uncharacteristic from Jaden Callaway.
And this is what happened to... Well, McAllister was already severely damaged, I think, from before here, the Aussie. Oh, Notty Emel. Back there, yeah. Anyway, back to live action. We'll get a chance to review for a few more of those if we get quite a part of the race. So a little bit of an inside there for Elliot Rolls, looking at the moment Sajay, but Sajay had covered him off. But Fitzsimmons on a rampage in the background here.
Yeah, this is Philly Fitzsimmons looking good for the moment in that 8th position. A couple of places gained, but most importantly, a clean car as he has a look down the inside of Elliot Rolls there. Can't go through. Rolls has lost a surprising amount of places early on here, after starting on the pole. Down 6 so far, which is a bit unusual for him, but Fitzsimmons has drawn up to the back of him now and is looking for his way through here. They're all in the slipstream. They're all being a little bit more conservative on their push to pass, although Rolls is using a bit here to try and attack Zuhair. He's not going to manage that down in towards turn number 1 as they all filter their way through here. End of the second lap. Things will start to hopefully settle down now, and the racing will continue after the madness of the start. Elliot Court leads the race after gaining 3 places. He's got JT Smitten right behind him. These two resuming their battle from race number 1, where Smitten prevailed. It's now Elliot Court, who's at the front of the field this time round. Smitten applying the pressure rather than the one leading.
Fastest man on the track here. Oh, we've got a big incident. Jace Meyer, Sajay, involved in this, and that is damaged, my friend, big time, as you can see. And
that's another meatball for Jace Meyer, unfortunately, as well. Let's see how it happened. Fitzsimmons was Rolls was right behind him, I should say. Really tight line for Elliot Rolls, and there's going to be contact. Or was there? Well, it's not quite. Oh, he might have clipped Fitzsimmons, who... Well, hopefully he's got away without damage. But
yeah, we have to go back to the live pictures because it looks like JT might be taking a run down into turn 1 on Elliot Court. There it is. Wow, listen to the cheer of the 100,000 spectators here at Indianapolis, my friend. The American driver from the number 46 to the top here for the Canberra SimSports racing team.
Yeah, what an unbelievable day he's having, JT Smeaton. And now Elliott Court's going to try and respond with a run down in towards turn 7. He goes to the outside line here, late on the break. Smeaton very late himself, though. And he might well just edge out Court, who's still alongside. No, he's not. Cuts off the nose, JT Smeaton, and he now leads this race ahead of Elliott Court. This is shaping up to be a great fight, but Smeaton looking very strong early.
Oh, he has. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest laps after fastest laps, and now he's got the lead at the front here. He hasn't got the slipstream anymore. Elliott Court's got to keep him for company pretty quickly because there is obviously the crown favourite out there as well, too. The fan favourite, I was meant to say, of Perez, because Perez is keeping them at bay here. He was in the first race as well. He just didn't have enough time to really keep with them and attack. So don't count out the Argentine number 19 driver lurking in the background.
No. It's not too far away, and certainly pick up the pieces if at all possible. We're down to 19 in the race, by the way, as the retirements and the long repairs continue on. There's no fast repairs in this series, of course. You've got to do the repairs properly, and that is putting a lot of guys out of the race already. Confirmed already: Juan Jose Marinelli, Sergio Zuhair, Gareth McAllister, James Turnbull, Jack Mundy, all out of the race. Callaway and Meyer are still in the session at least, but they are looking pretty unlikely to return as Fabian Sanchez here gets on the back of Austin Thomas, who's wildly defending here the inside line. They're both on the push to pass down towards turn 7. Austin Thomas has missed his braking point there. Far too focused on Sanchez, but he does pull it up in time for the corner.
You got to remember too, you got that extra kilowatt power, don't you? Well, the extra horsepower if you're here in the United States. And that, of course, throws off your braking point because you're charging at the corner. You'd usually be regularly braking at the certain breaker marks. But, of course, because you have the extra power, you're like, oh, well, I'm going to have to start braking a little bit earlier here, especially to get the overtake, or later in that particular case. And you go a little bit too deep into the corners and you see that situation. But Austin Thomas still managing to hug the wall there, trying to break the slipstream as we've got Sanchez now trying to attack him with the push to pass down the main straight.
On their way towards turn number 1 again. Not close enough. They're both recharging. I keep saying recharging, it's not the right term, is it? They're just cooling down as far as their push to pass is concerned. You can't use it within a minute and a half of your previous usage.
Yeah, all like Formula 1, of course, they charge their battery under braking. But then again, they don't have that push to... They don't have that... Well, it's automatically displaced, isn't it? I believe in Formula 1 anyway. You can use a little bit of a mode to give you a little bit more attacking power, but their batteries are fairly limited. Until next season, where they're going to be pretty much even Stevens, aren't they? Half regular engine power, and the other half is going to be all the fancy gizmos that Formula 1 has. Which equals problems, no doubt, too.
Changes, actually, I must admit.
Yeah. Well, they get rid of the ground force, which is trying to change the ground force. As we're going to see at the moment, Nottingham L up 14. So a good recovery drive here after shenanigans in the first heat race.
Yeah, and it seems that the damage actually that I commented, I think it was involved in McAllister's crash. I think he got away with that in the end. The damage was clearly netcode related as he looks down the inside of Chablis here. He's got to be careful. He'll have bad memories of this side by side through the chicane, but he'll get clear this time. And that's the big difference. Thank goodness he did get clear as well, because it's always a very, very dangerous place to be when you're side by side through the chicane, as we've already seen. And thankfully, Nottingham L asserted his dominance that time before they went side by side through the chicane, and he goes on and gets the place.
Sanchez trying once again to get past Thomas. Both the American drivers are battling it out. With also Max up into P8 up the road as well. Side by side action. Yeah, I was going to say before too, if Notty, Ferraris wouldn't be a very popular car here, because the last time they raced in Indianapolis, no doubt, it was only a couple of cars because of the shenanigans with the tyres with Bridgestone and Michigan, and of course they weren't happy just watching the Ferraris and I think the Sauber team and one other team as well. That was it from that 6 cars in that race, which ended basically them ever racing in Indianapolis again.
Yes, Ferrari, Jordan and Minardi.
Yeah.
2006. But,
Nobles goes wide. Back
a little bit. Ryan Thibault. Thibault can't get through though, and Nobles will get back to 11th again. Goes a bit deep there, and will now come through the chicane with a big run behind from Ryan Thibault. looking almost below the circuit there. There's a bit of extra tarmac that's actually out of bounds, so pulls to the outside here, very late on the brakes, as is Nobles. Gives a lot of room there, Thibaut, perhaps too much.
Yeah.
And Robert Nobles slips through, and he stays in 11th for now.
Cost him about a second on the exit on that one. There's the Frenchman back here of Xavier. He's got the American driver of John up the road there, the number 70. That's a nice little battle that's brewing between them for 13th. As the fastest lap set by JT, just trying to continue that 1 second gap he's got over Elliott Court. They are starting to, as well, they have to say Perez is still keeping them at bay there, so it's a second or so between those drivers up the front there, and then you've got to go down to the boss man, Lianchi, that's in that P4. Bit of a lonely P4 for him currently at the moment.
It is a little bit, but, you know, it's better than being a rowdy P14, which is what we're seeing at the moment. Lots of battling going on back here, and, of course, Bianchi served his time back here in the last race. He had a miserable look last week, getting his season back on track early on here tonight by the looks of things. Of course, you do get a drop round in this series. Not that I think Bianchi will be particularly fighting for the championship by the end, but it would help him in his championship standings, which he always does do rather well at in the seasons.
Oh, that's
big closing there. Seneve very nearly ramping over the back of Stumbra, but thankfully pulls it up in time.
Yeah, he's got to be very, very careful. You can see he's got some certain pace, but then he goes to attack Sambras up the road there, but makes a little bit of a mistake, and then has to cost him a lap or so to try to redo that all over again. Sanchez and Thomas battle for 9th on your screens as they make their way around the yard of bricks right there. Start another lap. There's a little bit of weaving. Of course, Thomas is trying to break the slipstream there from Sanchez. Sanchez says, oh, I'm just going to stay here, my friend. I'm staying in the racing line. You can do all the weaving you can. I'm going to overtake you in turn 1. I'm going to think about it a little bit further down.
And yeah, so lap 10 almost complete here, and that's what we did in the sprint race. Just to remind you, this is the 32-lap feature in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and that means a required pit stop in these Super Formulas. You can't refuel in these cars, but you can change tyres, and everybody is required to, as Felipe Ramos is going to do here. Normally you wait for halfway, but as we saw last week, although there was some... He is a little bit.
Very slow.
As we saw last week, you can make your pit stop not at halfway, and your tyres don't seem to mind it too much, although they do go off towards the end if you don't take care of them.
Noddy's on a bit of a rampage back up through that 15 positions gain here for the double 9 Barrari livery, and he's got Elliott Rolls up for up the road. Sanchez has gone into pit road there from P11, so some of those pit stops starting to occur. Fastest man on the track right now is this man, and he's back, over revengeance here in the League Zero Formula Series.
Absolutely, he is on the march and bouncing over the curbs there pretty hard, as it turned out.
How's your back?
Onto the straight. He has a look. won't be too good. Up in front, Bianchi went a bit off the road there, and Fitzsimmons will close on him. These two will close on the both of them as well. This is pretty close for 4th place, really. ML can see 3 positions ahead of him here.
Oh, I'd be loving it, knowing he's got the fastest lap too. He's a 109 flat, almost in the 108s. Wouldn't be surprised if he can get the 108s soon. Gets on the banking elevation, down into turn 1. Love that sensation of speed. Not turn 1, actually. Sorry, my apologies. They're on the exit turns. I don't know all the turn numbers off by heart, and they're probably just numbers here anyway. This is the corner exactly the Formula 1 that they decided that was a no-go for the Michelin tyres. But that's not a problem here.
No. We've got that extra chicane, and Noddy Mo goes down the inside here and goes straight through into 6th position. So it's a nice pass from him, and you get the feeling he is a little bit quicker here. Very interested to see Noddy Mo this season in terms of how he's going to take on this championship. Is he going to actually take on a proper championship charge, or is it going to be just a sort of he turns up when he wants to and features in the races as he's featuring in this one, and I'm sure he will do feature in every race he's here this season. But I do wonder whether he's going to have a proper championship charge this time round.
Is it when he wants to or when he can? Because I hope it's when he can, not when he wants to. Because we love Noddy Mel. He's such a fantastic. I mean, he tunes in, watches the races. So I presume if he's tuning in to watch a race, it just means he can't make it. Probably work commitments or family and all that sort of stuff that you have. JT, he's still up the road there. They're still keeping it bay, the top three, only separated by about a second between them. JT with a 7K iRacing. I mean, obviously that seat race is not one of the official series and registered things, so that's a nice little number to put in your resume, isn't it? If you're going for a job. Yeah. So what's your experience? I've got 7K iRacing. Like, oh, got the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't need a long interview there. That Fitzsimmons again tries to applies the pressure there. I have noticed tonight, actually, they've been able to jump quite a long way over the inside curves there, more than I was expecting, I must admit, as we follow Ricardo Espino here through having a difficult time at turn 4.
Sorry about that one, Ricardo. But you gave us a little bit of a spin.
Get booed off stage for that.
Yeah, well, he's running a little hot in the Inca Salsa livery, of course, our major sponsor. So make sure if you do like it. I mean, somebody actually said hot written on there as well too for the team, isn't it? Because you can get some very hot Inca Salsa. Go talk to the powers that be there. You join the league in the Discord and you say, where can I get Inca Salsa in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's your thing. It's all over the place around here as Finley Fitzsimmons comes down the inside of a different condiment, mustard seed racing. There you go. But Fitzsimmons goes down the inside of Bianchi, and that was a pretty easy pass in the end. When you see someone like Fitzsimmons sizing up like that, you do wonder how long it's going to take. And Fitzsimmons is indeed now into 4th position, a nice and considered race as Bianchi bounces over the curves as well.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get all four wheels off the tarmac, my friend. You've got no traction. I'm sorry, it doesn't. These cars are all designed. Everything's around downforce. Of course, the more speed you get, the more it pushes the car down to the ground. Now, as soon as you're airborne, you don't end up like Mark Webber, flipping not only once or twice, I think, 3 times in his career actually. He knows how an open wheel car can go airborne. Well, not just an open wheel. He did it a Mercedes or a BMW, whatever, when he went flipping in one of the endurance races, and in a Formula 1 car. I'll tell you what, Elliott Court's starting to reel in JT now, mate. Sorry.
That's all right, yep. He's right there as Elliott Court, fastest lap of the race last time round, 109.0. There are points available, by the way, for fastest lap in this series, so it's worth having as well for Elliott Court, who certainly does seem to be a driver who's focusing on the championship this season, or at least putting his hat into the ring there early. He was leading it after the first round. Callaway having such a bad evening tonight means that he will drop further away. Perez having a decent evening, but Court has beaten him both times in these races so far, so it'll be an early championship lead for Elliott Court. But if JT Smeaton shows this kind of pace for the rest of the season, and indeed appears in enough races, then he will be a force to be reckoned with as well.
And Perez lurking in the background. There he is there in the blue car. That's very, very patriotic of the colours of Argentine. He's you can see it in the pictures, so he's loving that. You can see those cars, and then of course you've got Fitzsimmons down the road there by about, Fitzsimmons is about 7 seconds down the road actually from these top 3. What would you do if you're Perez, my friend? You don't seem to be getting on the back there of Court. Do you want to just try a little bit of a flipper on your strategy and see what you can do in pit lane?
I think it's, getting to that stage in the race now, isn't it, where you think about doing something different. Again, I always go back to it at every circuit, but I feel like it's possibly even more of a factor around here, quite a tight circuit, is that you're just going to end up in stuff like this, really, traffic like this, if you pit as one of the leaders at the moment. You've got to wait for some of the guys back here really to pit in and start to filter out this field. I mean, the top 16 have yet to be in. They're all within a minute of the leader, and that's the chances therefore of you getting caught up in traffic, getting stuck behind someone, are really, really high. So I feel like it's probably not worth the risk at the moment for any of those front 3. You've sort of got to wait really and bide your time just a little bit more.
So you're not the one that likes to risk it for the biscuit. We have something that we have in our little graphics. Now, it's not always necessarily the best there. I haven't really found a way of getting it to work 100% with accuracy. I think we have to put in all the data there, Ewan, but we can do like a pit out position for drivers. So currently at the moment, it might show it. See the little P on the track map? It's going to be very hard to see, of course, unless you've got a big blowing up 4K television now. But it says to us at the moment, Noddy, that with the current driver that we're following, who's putting some pressure there on Bianchi, It says if he pits out now, he should slot in between 11th and 12th, and you can see on that track map there. But it never seems to really work out to plan there, Ewan. Every single time I try to use that sort of fancy graphics.
It's all very complicated, isn't it, behind the scenes to get these types of things to work. But
engineer. I mean, we're not engineers, are we? We're just broadcasters and commentators.
Exactly, yeah. And, we just work things out from how we see them, really, at the moment. Of course, using a bit of that track map as well, just to see where the traffic really is. And the story is that the traffic's everywhere at the moment. So we're past halfway and not many stops have happened. I think everybody's scared to start that. But once somebody does, it will come pretty quickly, I think, as Noddy ML gets, again, into the head of Antonio Bianchi, or at least he'll be hoping, through the left-hander. Squeeze on the power now. He's been fighting with that rear, actually, as ML in the last few moments, and you just wonder whether those rears are going off. And there will be now for Espino as well, who has gone for another spin here. He drops off the lead lap as well with that incident.
Yeah, it's just struggling. The Mexican, unfortunately, both Mexicans that are in this race, but he knows that just lurking around the corner is his home track in Mexico City coming up, so that'll be interesting to see how those drivers probably put a little bit more practice in. You tend to do that, don't you? I find there, Ewan, that when it's your home track, you're like, oh, you know what, I've got a couple extra hours to spend. I'm going to put the practice in because I want to show off these drivers. You certainly want to beat JT in your home track. JT's wanting to beat everybody else in his home track here in Indianapolis. I'm not quite sure where JT is in the United States of America, but he want to let us know out there because we know we've got some JT fans. From Adam Merchant, he might know where JT lives, but either way, he's living 7/10 up the road there from Elliott Court, at least. And Noddy ML as well. It's not just taking it. It's not as easy as it has for him climbing through the field. 16 places up. He's struggling a little bit trying to get past Antonio.
Yeah, he is struggling a little bit. We'll see whether he does it this time round. Whether he uses any push to pass to try. He's going to use some. Now, is he close enough here? It looks like he might well be. And here he goes. Noddy ML to the inside line. And through he goes into 5th position. So that's a very nice overtake indeed from him. And that is Noddy ML up ahead. Max Shabley, meantime, comes into pit lane. Now, along with Ryan Tebow, actually, as well. Now, will this kick things off, I wonder?
I think it might. I mean, Henshire once again gets up with that chicane there. And we see what happens before that, too, with the cars going into each other. Is he going to be able to re-attack this one? You'd think you'd want to save some of that push to pass, isn't it, for later on stages in this race. But we'll see whether or not. We're seeing Ryan and Carlos heading in there for 13, 14 for 15. What's going to happen up the front here? Is Elliott Court in? Yeah, I thought Elliott Court was going off the track completely, but here we go. Possible undercut here, as well as Perez. So for the Argentine fans out there, second and third. Perez was very close and gingerly trying to enter into pit lane, my friend.
Yeah, that was very, very fast on the entrance there, but just about pulls it up in time as this meeting carries on again. Now, there'll be only 12 laps to go at the end of this one, so it's going to be over again very, very quickly. These laps tick by very, very fast, but where's Elliott Court going to come out? He's not yet come to a stop because this pit lane is so long. You've got to drive all the... Look at that. The
feels like
boxes don't even cover the first
third. It feels
third.
like you're walking, doesn't it? That's how slow it looks.
Such a long pit lane here. Onto the jacks for the both of them. Tyres the only thing you can do in these cars mid-race. Can't refuel, as I mentioned earlier on. Will Smeaton respond immediately or not? Elliott Court will get in front of Perez, and they're both 7.25 second pit stops. Those are the shortest bar one in the day. Black flag for Tebow.
Speeding in pit lane, I have to presume that is because he went in. Here is race leaders coming in.
Okay. Well, the big moment then for our race leader. And it's JT Smeaton responding immediately here. 12 laps to go, but he's got a very, very long way down pit lane first, of course.
Yeah, Elliott Court currently, he's not the only one. Fitzsimmons comes in, Noddy comes in, Bianchi comes in, Elliott rolls, maybe, yes. So Robert Nobles is the only one that hasn't yet to take a pit stop. He probably might be thinking about that very, very soon. No, he doesn't. Stays out one more lap. Elliott Court, now, let's see. JT Smeaton, remember, he set the fastest lap early. He had about just under a second gap. Elliott Court now is here. JT's in pit road. Elliott Court, where is he on the track at the moment? He's coming around a final turn.
And Smitten's going. Smitten's already on his way. He'll have the 5th last box, of course, and so he'll have a little bit of a trip down, but not that much longer. And it's 5.6 seconds in the box for Smitten. That is shorter than what Elliott Court managed, and it's a cut of turn 1 as well, of course. So Smitten's going to be out in front by nearly 2 seconds. Elliott Court with work to do before he even thinks about a pass.
Yeah, and Perez, well, he dropped off a little bit, didn't he, in that pit stop? That seems to be, because up the road you could just see the green machine there of Elliott Court. And that's his target, no doubt. Noddy still stayed out. Well, Noddy had... Oh, somebody's off the track as well, too.
Balinas.
Yeah. Unfortunately, having another spin. Well, actually, not. This is the different... this is... You mentioned, yeah, he's just going to have to just get off the racing line, come back in there. But this is the battle that he's trying to avoid. Elliott Court and Max, they've had their pit stops back in lap 20 and 18.
And it's late on the brakes from Chablis, right round the outside. That's a very good overtake. Up into 6th position. So that's very well done from him. And up he moves again. Austin Thomas just towed back to pit lane, by the way, and he's got a meatball. So I wonder what's befallen him on this last lap.
Well, this is the situation here. It's turn 1 Tsunami's racing team. I don't think he's had a moment in turn 1.
Oh,
bang! Oh, that's the final turn. So you'd have to say final turn Tsunami. For Mr. Austin Thomas, that's a big hard lick into the fence.
It is, unfortunately. We might be down to 17 in this race. Jaden Callaway's still in the session, by the way, but he's been in there for 25 minutes now, the pit lane, so I'm not sure he's going to be coming out again. Chablis defends his newfound 6th place, and he does so pretty nicely on the way towards turn number 1. So Elliott Rolls has to try again somewhere else. These two with 12 seconds in front and 9 seconds behind. It's probably the maximum either of these sides are either of these drivers are going to get from this battle. Here comes Rolls again in the slipstream. No push to pass used. He's on a very tight line there. Goodness me! And he doesn't decide to dive it. Although he puts Chablis off a bit, he actually puts himself off, and 7/10 of a second the gap grows.
I was wondering where Elliott Rolls is at. That's not the racing line, my friend. That's going to put yourself in a difficult position to get the exit when you go completely off the racing line. I think Elliott Rolls realises that for the Scotsman. He says, oops, I was probably looking too much at Maxi up the road and completely threw myself off that, let's say, stuff up the corner, essentially. The corner entrance. Sanchez now putting a little bit of pressure on his fellow countryman of John up the road there, who's up 5. Sanchez down 4 currently in this race. The pit stops, but he's boxed back on lap 10, my friend, very, very early in this race.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago now, and well in the first half of this race. That's why he was running so far down for so long, and we didn't really notice him. He was 4th place in points after the first round at Interlagos, so clearly a big player this season. And 11th place might be the maximum he can get from this race. He's clearly had some trials and tribulations in race 2 as he comes down the inside here of Sumbras quite easily. And Sanchez moves into 11th place without too much trouble at all there. So that was a good overtake, but one you'd expect him to make.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. That's textbooks 101 on there for Sanchez, up to P11 currently at the moment. What's happening at the front? If anybody's asking it, JT dominating as to be expected after the pit stops worked out. He put the fastest lap in before he went down to pit road. So once again, you're putting in the fastest laps. Well, he's the only man as well, too, Ewan, that's actually set the 108s club this evening here in Indianapolis. Everybody else is the 109s. He just broke it. He did 108.89. That was on the one lap he did before he headed down to pit road. So he knew he could cover off the undercut there from Elliott Court running in that P2 position. Where's Perez for the fans? Well, he's down the road by a significant amount now. You can probably barely just see that P2 position on the podium. Can't see Court, which is not so inspiring, is it, as a racing driver? Because you want to be able to at least spot your opponent so you know where they make mistakes and how you can attack them.
Yeah, it isn't particularly helpful.
Poor Ricardo,
Simmons, unfortunately, has had something even less helpful.
Yeah, there he is again, too, just not enjoying Indianapolis at all. The Mexicans probably going to sit there and go, you know what, I'm just going to tear out my stamping my passport here because it's just not come. This track's just not. He's going to feel like he's driving on Michelin tyres in a Formula 1 Indianapolis race. Although they weren't that bad, actually. They just weren't allowed to run them.
Yeah, it's not his favourite circuit by the looks of it, Riccardo Espino. But he's the last running car, and so that is a positive at least. Running in 17th at the moment, he's still in the race, which is more than can be said for more than a third of the field at this stage. These cars do get a lot of damage and take a long time to repair, so you can understand the amount of retirements that we're seeing, but nevertheless it's a big list anyway. Down to 17 still running. If we take out Callaway, you can see they're still in the server at least, but doesn't look like he's going to be re-emerging for anything before the finish here. As it rolls again, gets into the wheel tracks of Max Shabley. 7 laps to go as they cross the line here. We'll see if he can regain that 6th position again. I'm not sure he's going to manage it, to be honest, and he might be a tad disappointed with where he's finished based on the fact that he did start this second race, don't forget, on the pole.
Yeah, exactly. So he's down 6 places currently at the moment in a P7 position. I wanted to, for the Scotsman, I wanted to ask you there, Ewan, because you know a lot of motorsports. You're a bit of a walking Wikipedia of that. Such a splatter these cars have. Listen to the downshift. It sounds like a couple of gunshots going off, really, doesn't it? Like that. You know necessarily why these cars make such a sound when the engines.
I don't know why.
drop the revs.
No, I don't know why they make such a sound. To be honest with you, I don't know too much about these cars. Just having a look into it now. They've got a what is it? Honda engine or Honda? Honda and Toyota engine.
Honda and Toyota.
Yes, it's a manufacturer war battle series. Yeah, so Honda and Toyota engines. Trying to work out the specifications of them actually, but I can't seem to find
Probably
them.
6s,
But anyway,
you'd imagine, or maybe 4s.
here we go. 2 litre inline 4.
Yeah, 4s. 2 litres.
For the Honda, I presume the same for the Toyota. Yeah, so 2 litre inline 4. I actually think inline engines are actually quite underrated as far as a sound is concerned. Everybody likes to talk about a V8 or a V12 or a V10 or whatever, but inline 4s sound pretty nice as far I think. And here's a bit more proof of that. I think these sound decent.
Oh, they're not bad at all. Let's have a look at the dashboard and see what they're revving at. Well, actually, it doesn't show us the revs, unfortunately, but will show us the kilometres. Actually, we've got a steering wheel. Maybe. Steering wheel. I'm sure the rev. We've got a cockpit can. That's what the driver sees. There it is. Not going to show us the revs. Unfortunately, I can't see it on the steering wheel, unless you can.
No, it doesn't seem to have rev lights, this car, which is very unusual.
You can see it be upshifting. I mean, we're talking about serious acceleration here. We're almost at 260 kilometers an hour. That's no shenanigans, but we'll wait to see down the back stretch, the main stretch, of course, out of the exit here, final turn. You can see passing some traffic. There you go. You're on the throttle. 6th gear. Don't think they'll reach the 7th. They probably get up to about 300. You'd imagine before braking point. We're almost peaking at it now. Slam on the brakes, yep, almost hit 300. I'm sure a couple of drivers probably have hit that 300 km an hour range, and then drop it down into turn 1.
Yeah, it's a great bit of machinery. Just to give you an idea, by the way, of how fast these cars are, because they are unbelievable, and it's easy to forget just how fast they are. Around Suzuka, the Super Formula lap record is a 137.8. And to give you some perspective on that, the Japanese Grand Prix this year had a new lap record set in Formula 1 at a 130.9, so that's 6.9 seconds slower than a Formula 1 car at Suzuka, which is a mind-bendingly fast circuit in Formula 1 cars. It's, if you were to design a circuit like that is to the likeness of Formula 1 car, you would design Suzuka if you were to do it again. And Fuji, which is even more like it's a bit more suited actually to the Super Formulas, that we're using here. They do at very best in 2020 they did a 121.3. The Formula 1 cars, when they were last at Fuji, admittedly that was a while ago in 2008, but they did a 118.4. That's 2.9 seconds slower, and these Super Formula cars were faster than the LMP1s at their absolute peak in 2016. And to the tune of 3.3 seconds, by the way. That is how fast these cars are. 3 seconds quicker than LMP1 and less than 3 seconds slower than Formula 1 from 2008. It's a very, very fast car.
Could you compare it to the Formula 2s? Because I think they're quicker than the Formula 2s, or at least maybe on pace with the Formula 2s. I think they might be quicker.
The Suzuka records.
To be honest, I think they might be quicker. I think the only thing that's quicker than these cars is literally a Formula 1 car, which is the pinnacle of motorsports, no doubt, and has a lot more money funding the series than what these cars do. But certainly we have
never
the
been to Suzuka. It's not on the list.
Really? Okay. Well, maybe to find a track that they've both been at. So put it as a comparison. I mean, we're only talking about this at the moment because, unfortunately, the closest battle on track is this battle. This is the kind of thing when you need a pace car, a safety car, isn't it? Throw us better in the mix. But unfortunately, we're not going to have one. We don't have one in the series. But we will have a bit of push-to-pass being used by both the drivers, actually, as you can see. Max is using it to defend against Elliott Rolls. Elliott Rolls is using it to attack, but the rest of it, it's pretty much even Stevens across the field there. 1 or 2 second gap between most of the drivers there.
Yeah, that's pretty even across the board, and everybody looking pretty comfortable in the positions that they are in at the moment. They'll start to think now as the last 2 laps approach about how to use their last bit of push to pass and whether they've got any left, when they can use that. Don't take it off now quite too late, because you'll get yourself in a cool down period over the end of the race, which is not ideal. But you can see Smeaton starting to empty his now, because he's gone for the fastest lap of the race last time round. We'll see what Elliott Rolls still has available to him. He's been doing a lot of defending, a lot of being overtaken in this race, and I can't tell whether that means he will have been using a lot in his attempts to defend, or whether he will have just let them go and therefore not used as much push to pass maybe as Chablis. But we'll find out in the next couple of laps. If he's got over a minute on board at this stage, then he'll put it on now. He's got about a minute and a half. He'll wait until the back straight at least, but he's waiting for the moment.
We're going to ride on board with Elliott Rolls in cockpit cam, so yeah, put yourself in the shoes of the Scotsman, essentially, or on the helmet and the shoes. So we'll see how he's driving currently for a little bit of the lap, as Noddy goes, must have gone off an off-track excursion. He's going to slow down, but he has a 1.5 second gap over Blanchie, which may be able to get him to attack back. But we'll see how this so Elliott's a second a lap slower than JT in the race lead. So just have a look for a second why that is the case. What is the different racing line? How are they driving differently? You can see him attacking the corners. That looks pretty good to me. Spotting the apex there. Getting on the power. Obviously, it could come down a lot of push to pass. Elliott Court's now responded to the fastest lap. Now, let's have a look at JT. We're going with JT as he's pushing it. He's using the OT. He needs to use it. Bit of traffic up the road. Could give him a little bit of a slipstream there, Ewan.
Yeah, will that give him just the slipstream to maybe take the fastest lap back away from Court, who took it off him last time round? If these two are serious about a championship battle, then even that singular point could matter by the end of the 11 rounds when it gets to December. So absolutely worth having at the moment as he comes in towards the final sector right now. Oh, over the final chicane. It's pretty nervy through there as he now comes through. Long right-hander and into the braking zone. Final seconds being used, but we're going to have our first repeat winner this season in the League Zero Super Formula Championship, and it's going to be JT Smeaton, who's dominated here from Indianapolis. His gap at the line just over 2 seconds over Elliott Court in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. It's a clean sweep for JT Smeaton. Great drive from him. Elliott Court crosses the line in the background. Does he take the fastest lap? Yes, he does. Oh. So Court takes an extra point. But it's Smeaton who wins the 2 races.
Yeah, JT will not be happy about that. He wants to get the trifecta, doesn't he? He wants to get everything with a 1 next to his name. Won't get that one. Noddy will finish the biggest gainer of the race there, you'd have to say. Good job for him as what a comeback drive there. Blanchie will get that P5. There's Super Max. He'll be, as he had to fight off Elliott Rolls for the dying stage of this race too. He'll get himself a P6 in front of the home crowd. Then you have to go a little bit further back to Fitzsimmons as well too, so managed to gain a couple of places. Good job there for the Mustard Seed Racing and his teammate. Wow, what another big gainer. 17 up for Robert Nobles, the 4th.
It's good drives for everybody to get to the finish here tonight. Tavi Senevi is going to cross the line. Balinas just about got across the line in front of JT Smeaton to give himself an extra lap there. So he finishes only 1 lap down on this occasion, but that'll just about be it for the racing here from Indianapolis, which was, I've got to say, quite entertaining. I mean, the 10-lap shorter, sharper race was a little bit more action-packed, but enjoy the longer feature races as well with their pit stop and everything that comes with that as well. It's always a lot of fun in this series, the League Zero Super Formula Championship. And we're here every week, by the way, until Thanksgiving on so November 20th will be our last race before Thanksgiving. We've got racing for the next 2 months for you every week here on a Thursday night. So make sure you come back and join us again. But let's, in the meantime, have a look and a look at the final race results. It's JT Smitten who finishes in first ahead of Elliott Court by 2 seconds. Gonzalo Perez joins them on the podium with Nadia Mel and Antonio Bianchi in the top 5. Max Shabley holds off Elliott Rolls in the end with Finley Fitzsimmons, Robert Nobles and Zoe Soneva rounding out the top 10. Fabian Sanchez went a lap down late on with John Stumber, Arturo Mayorga and Carlos Balinas also a lap down. Ryan Thibault and Felipe Ramos were 2 down. Ricardo Espino, the last driver to get across the line, 3 down. And the retirements, Austin Thomas, Ignacio Gorkovic and Jace Meyer, the top 20. Juan Jose Marinelli, Saji Zuhair, Gareth McAllister, James Turnbull, Jack Mundy, Jaden Callaway all retired. And Christian Ruckriegel did not start the races, either of them in the end. Let's have a chat, shall we, to Elliott Court, who's finished in second place twice tonight and will remain our series leader after 2 weeks as well. Elliott, welcome in. Good to have you with us and congrats on finishing in second place twice tonight. Are you seeing that as a success for yourself, a couple of second place finishes?
Yeah, I mean, good points on the board. I mean, would have liked to go for the win. I got pole position, but JT was just, too quick for me today. He did a great job, honestly. So yeah, I'll take a P2.
How are you sort of targeting this championship? Or is it something you're going to be going for this season and something you're already thinking about in terms of getting that fastest lap point in the end as well? Or was that sort of collateral damage there as you were trying to catch the leader?
I mean, I had some clean air, so I thought, why not go for it? And we got it in the end, so yeah. But for the championship, I'm just taking it race by race, trying to be consistent. And, I mean, consistency will win you the championship in the end. Well, it might do. I don't know what's going to happen, but as done in the past for other people.
Yeah. Congratulations on finishing second place twice here tonight and racking up some solid points with that consistency, as you say. And thanks for coming to chat to us after the race as well.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thanks very much. That is Elliott Court finished his second tonight twice at Indianapolis. I think Biggles, he can say that's a good evening for him, although, he'll be concerned if JT Smitten comes out firing like this every week. That was a brilliant double win and our first double winner in this season.
Yeah, Ewan, I'd take 2 P2s any day of the week, considering, your early days in the championship, and points are points. Race wins are race wins. It's always great to have a little trophy on your cabinet, but at the same time, you get yourself once again those important points when it comes down to the end of the championship. Even fastest lap points, as you mentioned there in the broadcast. We've seen championships won or lost by 1 or 2 points in the end of the day, and you got to look back in races going, well, I'm glad I got that fastest lap, because that could be the reason why you win the championship.
Let's have a bit more of a chat to some of these guys who've popped in while we were just chatting there. JT Smitten, who's won twice tonight, can also join us. JT, welcome in. Congratulations on a double victory here tonight. Were you expecting to be on that sort of pace here tonight from Indy?
No, I was not, to be honest. I don't do these league races many during the season, but I just thought I would show up, have some fun. But Elliott had some really good pace, so really fun to battle with them, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun to watch as well. What's the outlook on how much we'll be able to see this season? Is it going to be a limited schedule for yourself, or are we going to see you back in the League Zero Championship before the finish?
I don't know. I don't have any plans at the moment to do any more races, but if I happen to be available, I'll definitely show up and have some fun. But this was definitely a one-off for the season.
Well, hopefully things will align and we'll see you back again. But if not, congratulations on a couple of race victories here tonight and becoming our first double winner actually this season as well in round number 2. And thanks for coming to chat to us quickly after the race as well.
Yeah, thank you guys. Always love watching the broadcast. Even when I'm not racing, you guys put on a good show, and always look forward to watching the races back.
Well, always better watching them when you're winning them as well, I suppose. So congratulations again.
Yeah.
And thanks very much. That's JT Smeaton who wins race tonight in Indianapolis. Further down here, Rolls started that second race from pole after a top 5 in race number 1, and we can chat to him as well. Elliot, welcome in. Good to have you with us. How was your evening out there tonight?
Decent enough. Not great, not horrible.
I mean, it's a pole start for race number 2 after a top 5 in race 1. Were you hoping to hold on to a few more positions than that, or was that sort of expected that you'd just gently go through the field a little bit?
Yeah. Admittedly, it was a horrible start from me. I saw Antonio get the bad launch, tried to react, and it's just bad idea. But yeah, I was hoping to keep a few more positions in that. Hopefully, the idea was a top 5 finish, maybe a podium, but P7, decent enough. Fun week battle with Max. Nobody died this time, so it was much better in my books.
Yeah, absolutely. And one top 5 out of 2 is exactly the same as last week's. Good going. So congratulations again, Elliot, on the top 5 in race number 1. And thanks for coming to chat to us quickly after the race as well.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's Elliot Rolls, who finished in 5th place and 7th place here tonight. And one last quick chat with Finley Fitzsimmons as well, who was popped himself in there waiting. Finley, welcome in. Good to have you with us. And how was your evening out there? An 8th place and a 10th place finish is lower than what you were expecting, or you were just looking to survive Indianapolis tonight?
Yeah, I didn't make many mistakes. Just the mistakes I made were big mistakes. I'm not sure what happened on the lap 1 of the sprint race. I haven't quite reviewed that yet. But yeah, in the feature race, we were on for possibly a top 3 if we nailed the pit stops. But found out fuel and overshot my pit box. So it's just kind of the story of last season as well. Same stupid mistakes that you shouldn't really make that I've been making, and it's just cost me the results and happened again today. Obviously, we'll try and forget about it and move on to next week. But with the competition up the front, if they turn up for many weeks to come, it definitely might be tricky.
Yeah, I mean, is that sort of consistency frustrating you a little bit, because it was sort of one race on, one race off into Lagos last week as well? Sometimes these things aren't entirely in your control, obviously, and weird things happen in racing. But is that sort of lack of stringing 2 race results together in one night so far this season just frustrating you a little bit, or is it just one of those things?
It's a great question. It's things I'm probably going to have to ask myself, because I'm not quite sure. I think it's just a consistency issue. I used to have it, and then I thought I ironed it out, and then as soon as I try and push that extra bit, it always seems to come crawling back. So I guess it's just maybe put in more practice hours, more 0x races, and we'll have to move on from there.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again next week at the Red Bull Ring. But for now, Finley, thanks for chatting to us, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Thanks so much. That's Finley Fitzsimmons, who has 2 top 10s for the first time this season here tonight at Indianapolis. Well, that's just about going to do it for us here on the JPB YouTube channel from the League Zero Super Formula Championship. A big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in here tonight. Once again, it's been a great start to this season from Indianapolis, and last week at Interlagos as well. We've got a great season set up ahead of us. Next week, we will be at the Red Bull Ring on October 7th for the Underfueled by Antonio Grand Prix of Austria. A bit of a throwback to last season if you weren't with us from Fuji. We don't have Fuji this season, so Brian Thibault sponsoring next week's race at the Red Bull Ring as an homage to that event last season. I'm sure we'll talk more about that when we're on the air next week, of course. Myself and Biggles will be back for that, so make sure you join us again in 7 days' time. But for now, from all of us here from the Yard of Bricks at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's goodbye for now.